Ah, Big Finish have redecorated. My thoughts are mixed. Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mr. TARDIS, and we are now on episode 6 of the 13th Doctor Adventures starring Jodie Whittaker and Mandip Gill from Big Finish Productions, and Aegis, which is the 6th episode here, written by Noga Fleischman, who is also basically the showrunner of the 13th Doctor Adventures with Big Finish. This is essentially working as a mid-season finale. We've had these hints over the previous 5 stories about this mysterious tourist, played by Madison Bulliment, and Aegis also acts as a sort of sequel to Ride or Die, which came out back in January and was written by Roshana Patel. And if you remember my review of Ride or Die, you'll remember that I thought it was a pretty ho-hum, very preachy sort of anti-war story. And I'm all for anti-war stories, of course, but I think that Ride or Die wasn't able to quite thread the needle for making a strong allegory within the story and also filling that story with interesting and endearing characters. It was a bit of a shame, to be honest, because I love Roshana Patel as a writer. However, Ride or Die essentially walked so that Aegis could run, because this is a direct follow-up to Ride or Die. Personally, I think that maybe they should have shuffled the release around so that you didn't have Ride or Die, then the Violet Hour, and now Aegis. I think maybe you could have swapped Ride or Die and the Violet Hour around, but whatever. And one of the threads being picked up from Ride or Die is Prospero, who is this brain in a jar character voiced by Jason Forbes, who was a standout in Ride or Die, and he returns in Aegis, where the 13th Doctor and Yaz, they are picking up this signal from the tourist, and they get help from Prospero, and this leads them to Aegis, which is an interplanetary defense expo, essentially like a Comic-Con for war criminals. So the 13th Doctor and Yaz infiltrate Aegis with these really cool crab mech designs called Trojans, and come under the scrutiny of the leader of Aegis, Athena, played by Juliet Aubrey. Will the 13th Doctor and Yaz be able to infiltrate Aegis successfully, and can they get out alive? And what on earth is the tourist?
Ah, wrong door. Kitchens. Never mind. Keep going forward.
Doctor, where are you?
Hi, yeah, sorry. You're all so nice and distracted, I thought I might as well bounce. I'm in the kitchen now.
What are you doing in the kitchens?
I scanned our Trojan buddy at the entrance before a split. I'm tracing their operating signal. And once I locate the source, I can find where the pilots are, and then I can ask them about the tourist.
Are you eating?
I'm not going to let all those fancy canapes go to waste, am I? Got it. The signal controlling the Trojans is directly below the facility. I'm heading to the maintenance lift.
I'm coming with you.
No, stay up there. Keep an eye on Prospero. Oh, and try to get near that woman from the commercial.
Athena?
That's the one. The tourist wanted us to see her for a reason. I need to know why. Anything wrong, let me know.
Will do.
Like I said up top, I think that Ride or Die walked so that Aegis could run, and I don't really think that you needed to compromise a story like Ride or Die to do that, but this is kind of how the dice have fallen here. Either way, Aegis was a really entertaining story for me. I really enjoyed the setting of this military-industrial complex exhibition, and I think you could have actually got a bit more mileage out of that in the story. I think having the 13th Doctor and Yaz, go and dismantle all of the booths and really actually have a good hard look at the exhibits and everything that's going on in this exhibition. I think there's a bit of missed potential there, especially with the audio drama format. I think you don't need a big budget to be able to realize these incredibly expansive concepts. There's one or two establishing scenes on the show floor with the 13th Doctor, Yaz, Prospero and Athena, but then they end up just bickering in backroom corridors and in offices and stuff. Like that is where most of the action, quote, the action happens in this type of setting anyway, the backroom dealings and the mechanisms of the expo, but I think they should have done more in the exhibition itself. That being said, this is a story where the dynamic and the shaky relationship between the 13th Doctor and Yasmin Khan really comes to the forefront, where Yaz gets possessed by the tourist, who is revealed to be some sort of trans-dimensional being, and I will go into minor spoilers with Aegis because I want to be able to talk about the concept, but the idea that this creature Doctor, this entity, this trans-dimensional being or whatever it turns out to be, is actually kind of looking for companionship and is actively rooting out the Doctor to make its pitch to be the next companion and ends up possessing Yaz. Such a cool idea, such a novel twist on what could have just been, you know, a typical, you know, growly voice antagonist in an audio drama that's been teased over the past few months, and then they make their big reveal here. No, it's far more interesting, it's far more character driven, and it's really novel. And how the 13th Doctor responds to that, basically an invitation to being a companion, really fascinating stuff that is really not only unique to the 13th Doctor, but kind of unique to almost any Doctor incarnation, at least in recent Big Finish memory. I think Jodie Whittaker plays those scenes really exceptionally well, but Mandip Gill as a possessed pseudo-evil Yaz is really surprisingly frightening as well. She's like genuinely quite intimidating. I can see why this companion works so well as a cop. Obviously, much like Ride or Die, I'm not really going to know this story's place in the overall arc of the 13th Doctor adventures until way after it's over. Like, I think now that we have Aegis, I might look back on Ride or Die a bit more favourably because it's much more clearly setting up stuff that's going to be paid off in Aegis, so it kind of works more as a continuation. But if there's one thread that I don't want the 13th Doctor adventures to drop, it is the Tourist. And I think while Julia Aubrey is playing a really strong villain character as the head of this expo who's really running things behind the scenes and is basically the main antagonist, I don't mind the antagonist shift, I don't mind the shift in focus, but I really don't want them to drop the Tourist. Part of that is because I really like Madison Bulliman's performance, and I think that they have done a brilliant job over their recent Big Finish credits. I've been singing their praises for months now, and you know, obviously I have no authority over these decisions, but if I was Madison Bulliman's agent, I would be really fighting hard to get auditions and screen tests as the next Doctor Who companion when the series comes back after competitive tender. But the character of the Tourist and its abilities and the extent that it pushes the 13th Doctor and Yaz dynamic, where they really have to trust each other blindly, and I think having a character like the Tourist in the middle of that, it just enriches everything around them. And I really hope that now that we're at the mid-series finale, the Tourist isn't dropped completely. Like I said, I don't mind a change in focus, but I think it would be such a waste to drop the Tourist here. We still have 6 episodes left of this, quote, series of the 13th Doctor adventures. The next story is the Hallamshire incident by Rishana Patel, which features the Ice Warriors, so, you know, I don't mind a break from the Tourist here. Maybe we could pick up that thread later. But yeah, Aegis, I thought, was a really effective character-driven story. I think the setting could have been utilised more, but once it gets going, and it really does hit the ground running, I think it's a really strong hour of audio. The behind the scenes are kind of insane, though. Like, Noga Fleischman, I know, is quite a controversial figure within the fandom because of her political stances, and obviously I think she's gone private on Twitter now, so I don't know if she's gone back on anything that she said, or if she's apologised or had a change of heart or whatever. But, you know, with this story being such a stinging critique of the military-industrial complex, kind of like Boom was in season 1 of the Ncuti Gatwa era of Doctor Who, it's kind of insane that it's so anti-military-industrial complex, while Noga was on social media a couple of years ago singing the praises of a country that was the epitome, that was the crystallization of the military-industrial complex. It's kind of insane. I'm a little bit worried now that this series is going to end in 6 episodes' time with the 13th Doctor claiming that Aegis has the right to defend itself and that war profits were promised to it 3,000 years ago. But the fact that I'm thinking so much about the future of the 13th Doctor adventures range from the Tourist or where it could be going with its political allegory is, I think, indicative of how strong an hour of audio Aegis was. I think that it was a really good audio drama. I really enjoyed it. It worked as a climactic mid-series finale. It was action-packed, it had a really cool setting, these bloody crab creature robot things, like really cool. Jodie and Mandip and Madison really thrive and excel in the story as well. Yeah, I really do recommend this. I think you need to listen to Ride or Die first. Like, this is a mid-series finale. I wouldn't recommend series 6 of Doctor Who and start with A Good Man Goes to War, for example. But yeah, Aegis gets a really strong recommendation from me, and I'm looking forward to the Hallamshire incident, the 13th Doctor and the Ice Warriors. Exciting stuff. Thank you so much for watching my review of the 13th Doctor Adventure Aegis from Big Finish Productions. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button, hype the video, subscribe for more Doctor Who Big Finish reviews, and folks, I'll see you all next time.